Hello, hello, testing, testing. Can you hear me now? That's our new mantra post-COVID. Can you hear me now? Because we're all on a video. Anyway, I just want to mess around a few seconds there so all my channels start streaming properly before I start talking about the business of the day. And today, topic is your first employee, an HR checklist for small business owners. So this is when you are about to hire your first employee. You're doing all the work. You're busy. You're starting to make money so that now you can afford to hand off some of this work. This is the situation. All right. I got a whole bunch of emails here all of a sudden. Let's make sure there isn't any complaints about our it just says I'm live on YouTube. Okay. So, yes, your first employee, an HR checklist for small business owners. So, everybody keep count on this checklist. Don't know how to put them on the screen. I'd be doing a lot of fiddling around to put in captions. So you keep track. Okay, these are going to be in order. This is what you want to do in order when you hire your first employee. Don't burp like me. Excuse me. Sorry. Typical show. Lots of burps, lots of farts. Sorry. Terrible. I am the worst podcaster ever. Anyway, number one, this is the first thing you do when you're thinking, time to hire my first employee. Why are my lenses so dirty all of a sudden? Anyway, number one, your first employee. This is number one on your checklist. You're going to define the role. So you're going to take some time and figure out all the job functions that you want to give to this new person. It is best if all the job functions are related in some way, shape, or form. If it's just everything you don't want to do and it's scattered all over the board, that's not a good job. That's not a good role. We as humans like certain things, like a well-defined role. I really hate when people put in their job description and any other task assigned. This is a BS catch-all. Who's this? Send me the checklist, says my friend Jonathan Gladue. I won't share his email address, but it is a live chat, Johnny, so everyone got your email address now anyway. No, you don't get it sent to you. You have to listen all the way through. If you catch the video after it's posted, after we're done, they'll all be listed in the description of the video, especially on YouTube. So, all right, here we go. We're defining the role. You're trying to figure out which job task you want to give to this person. Try to make them related. And I've spoken in the past about your first hire, your first few hires should be people that generate an income for you, because their role basically pays for itself. And this allows you to go off and do other things to build your business. So what are those roles? Salespeople, store clerk, right? They're dealing face to face with customers. I think about my friend Johnny, who made a comment on this video. He works out in the oil field, in the oil industry. So what he's hiring someone it should be someone that's making him money. So let's say he purchases some sort of crew truck or a little flat deck picker truck with a little picker on it, right? You got the crew, you're billing out the truck, you're billing out any equipment, you're billing out the time for these 1 or 2 employees running that truck. Of course, you're billing the person out at $100 an hour, but you're only paying them $30 an hour or whatever, right? You are making money off that person. So that's the role. If you're thinking, oh, I'm going to continue doing the work, being out there every day, and I'm going to hire a bookkeeper or I'm going to hire an office manager or something like that, that's going to be an expense that's not covering itself at first. So whereas you as the business owner should be the one doing all that work until you got enough crew out there making you money that you can afford the back office. You don't want to be back office loaded, with 10, 15 employees working at the office. They're all considered overhead. The only people making money for you are the people that are out in the field, running the equipment, running the trucks, right? So define the role, what you want it to be. So once you got the role defined, you want to create a pay grid for that role. And as you hire more people for that same role, you're going to use the same pay grid because you want to make it fair. Because you don't want to hire one person and you're giving them $30 an hour, and then you hire someone else and you're giving them 35, and then they talk. They're allowed to talk about their wages with anyone they want to. So you trying to keep it a secret because you're giving an extra $5 an hour because it's your best buddy, right? Like, that first employee is going to get pissed off and quit. Or worse, they will quiet quit or work to rule. They will just do the job enough that they won't get fired, right? We don't want that. We want it to be completely fair. So you want to create that pay grid that everyone's going to be on that pay grid. And if anyone negotiates or wants to negotiate a higher wage, like this particular pay grid tops out at $35 an hour, and they want 36 or 37, you say, sorry, top of the pay grid is 35, and if I pay you that, you won't get any future merit pay increases. You'll be stuck at that, except for maybe cost of living yearly, maybe 3% increase or something like that, right? It is fine to say no to somebody who's trying to negotiate above your pay grid. This is essential for your business because when you budget for that employee and their wages, you are budgeting at the top end of it. You're budgeting, do I have $35 an hour to pay this person this year, right? Whereas you're only paying them 30, you got room to give them pay increases, but you know that you're not over budget. You know that you've got the money to do it. So researching that pay grid, there's two things about researching the pay grid I really want you to think about and to learn about. It's researching your local living wage. In Alberta or any other province in Canada, there's usually some sort of local living wage association where they calculate rent and mortgage and the cost of a vehicle or transportation, right? And the cost of food. And they kind of put this all together. And in your local area, they will come up with some number. So in Edmonton, the local living wage is something like $22.80 right now, I believe. If you are paying less than $22.80 in Edmonton, you are paying poverty wages to your employees. Even though minimum wage is 15 and you think, well, 15 plus is legal, but it isn't necessarily moral or ethical or whatever, however you want to gauge your morality. It's not a fair wage. And how is this going to play out? Well, you're going to save a bit more money, yes, but you're not getting the best employee that you can, and any current employees you have are not going to do their best. They're not going to do their best because they are thinking, I need to get a higher paying job, so where should I apply? I'm going to need a part-time job if I'm thinking of keeping this job at the same time. How am I going to feed the kids? How am I going to pay for my vehicle? Oh my God, my rent's coming up. What am I going to do to pay my rent, right? They are more concerned about their personal lives than your business if you're not paying them properly. That's the truth. Think about it yourself. If you're working for someone and they're only paying you $15 an hour, and in order for you to survive in the city of Edmonton, you need almost $23 an hour. Yeah, you're looking for other work, aren't you? Even if it's the best work environment or you love the work, it is not financially sustaining you. So you are thinking of something else, right? I researched the local living wage. This is so important. Now, a lot of times we're just looking at industry standard. Now, obviously, you want to look at industry standard. What are other companies paying for people doing that same role? You want to be at least on par with that industry standard. If you're below the industry standard, you're not going to get the rock stars applying. And if you're way over the industry standard, you're going to get everybody applying, and they may not be the rock stars. So meet or just barely beat the industry standard. Now, local living wage, industry standard, they might be like this, but industry standard and local living wage might be like this also, right? So the local living wage is actually higher than the industry standard. So you think about fast food workers or something like that, right? Industry standard is they're making $20 an hour. The local living wage is almost 23. So in the case where the local living wage is higher than the industry standard, you should pay the local living wage. Yes, you're going to be in the same situation where you're getting a lot of people applying, but they might not be as qualified. But this shows that you are a very fair, ethical, moral owner, manager, person, right? So those are two things, right? When you're creating your pay grid, research the local living wage and the industry standard and figure out your sweet spot. I would always go meet or beat the local living wage. If you've got an industry standard and a local living wage like this, I would put your starting wage somewhere in here to that happy medium, and you can make your industry standard not your top end, but maybe your 2/3, so you pay just a little bit more, right? So do that. So what did we talk about so far? You defined your role. That's your first checklist. Number 2 on your checklist, create your pay grid. Number 3 on your checklist will be create your job description. Defining the role gives you the information you're going to be putting on your job description. And your job description is just organizing the things. You want to group all the stuff that you've defined that you want to give. You want to group it into sections so that everybody can understand this is administrative work, this is customer service work, this is, this is your labor work. Like, sort them out a little bit, and you can make that part. That's your job description, right? It's, I would say, because you want to try to group like things, but when you do a certain thing, sometimes there's paperwork and follow-up you got to do. When you're thinking about like hiring a couple people to run a picker truck for you out in the oil field, right? Obviously, they need some sort of equipment experience driving a truck, so they got to have a license, running the picker equipment, right? Things like that. But there's a big aspect of that sort of role: safety. They need these safety tickets. They need safety experience. Safety is really a learned thing. But as we get older, we cut corners because we just get good at stuff and we're mostly automatically careful. But those old-timer skills might get taught to a new person who needs to learn the skills first, right? So it's a safety world out there. You might hire someone who's young, the greenhorn, and they're 19, it's their first labor job, they got all their safety tickets here in the last 6 months. Now you're hiring them. That doesn't mean that they're perfect. They're probably the most dangerous person on your job site right now. I know when I worked for my friend Johnny for a little bit, I had to learn the safety equipment. I don't wear a hard hat when I'm doing HR. That's not part of my safety equipment for HR. But I was wearing a hard hat when I was on the well site. And that hard hat adds, half an inch to an inch on the top of your head. And when you're ducking under pipes and things, I know where the top of my head is. We know our body mostly, right? So we know what we need to do. As soon as you put that hard hat on, that adds, your body changes, right? Your height changes. So now you're bumping your head into things. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was just like, oh my God, I keep bumping my head, thinking to myself, glad I have my hard hat on. Obviously, if I had not had my hard hat on, I probably would have missed most of those head bumps, but the ones that connected probably would have cut my skull open and I would have been bleeding all over the place, right? So it's important. So you got to remind these young people, you got a new hard hat on. Remember, you got to duck a little bit lower than normal, right? And that's kind of just our body physics. We forget that sort of thing when we're just, wear your hard hat, go do that thing, right? So we're still talking about create your job description. So the different sections are going to be related. And hopefully you only have maybe 3 or 4 sections where there's 3 to 5 tasks or something like that listed in there. Yeah, that's what my sister says here, right? If you had to wear a hard hat daily, you would have got used to it. Right. I didn't get used to it because I was out there for a very short time. So it probably would have taken me weeks or months before I got used to it. It really depends on you as a person and how well you adapt to this new change in your reality. So you got your job description, whatever it might be, and then the different tasks they do. related, if at all possible, because as soon as you have a role that says you will be doing labor work on site, and you're also doing filing in the file room, I mean, that doesn't fit. That doesn't fit, man. Right? So there's going to be some obvious things that you shouldn't be mixing and matching. You're going to be a laborer, and you're going to be filling out safety forms and checklists and timesheets and things like that, right? That's the documentation you'd be doing. It's directly related to that. You wouldn't be in the file room filing stuff. Yeah, so in the job description, you sort everything on what's most important to you. In each of those sections that are related, you want to sort them to the most important, so that you can see what's really important to you as the owner and to potential candidates applying for the job, right? So create the job description. So we did define the role, create your pay grid, create the job description. That's your first 3 checklists when you're going to hire your first employee. So the 4th one is create your job ad with only the most important things. So you may just put the different sections from your job description on there. We're looking for this type of person, and you'll be doing these types of things. It may be just that. You're not putting in the specific, you'll be doing labor work. You're not going to put, well, you might be able to lift 50 pounds or something, right, Dad? But there's different ways to lift 50 pounds. So you kind of don't want to put that. But anyway, that was a bad example. Now who's over here? My mother says, wear your hard hat at home to get used to it. Or your fur hat. Yeah, something that's taller. Okay, good idea. You can get better hard hat awareness. You can get better hard hat awareness where your head fits nice and the hard hat almost fills it up. Oh, so get a better hard hat. Don't just wear some lame old hard hat. Go get your hard hat fitted and make the adjustments. I know there's that adjusting band in there. All right, I've been told. But you see, those are the things that we have to talk about, right? A lot of times it's just put on your hard hat, go work, but make sure your hard hat's fully adjusted. Be aware that it's now taller on your head than normal, even if it is very well suited for your head, shaped to your head, fitted to your head. That's the word I'm looking for. Right, number 4 was create your job ad with only the most important things. If you have that section that is required skills, and then asset skills or whatever, right? Obviously the top 3 to 5 things that you need this person to do, you've already did the sort in your job description, so now you can easily put that in. The top 3 to 5 things, try to keep it as short as possible. And then your asset things, the things that would be really nice, these are your tiebreakers, right, when you're looking at the resumes. Yeah, the harness inside the hard hat, says the professional. Okay, Jiraiya saw you and he says, "Hi, Musum." "Hi, Jiraiya." So that's my sister's grandkid, and in the traditional indigenous way, My sister's grandkids are also my grandkids, so they call me Muslim, which means grandfather in Cree. Hi. Okay, back to my notes. Right, create your job ad with only the most important things. All the stuff you see job ads that this is our organization and these are all the amazing things we've done. And then you have the next section that's usually like, these are the things you'll be responsible for. So those are taken from your job description also. But those two sections up at the top, that's you trying to sell the job to people. The section required skills or asset skills, required skills and experience, required assets or whatever, required education. These are your must-haves. And the asset section is your would-be nices, right? Your tiebreakers. So you want to put all that stuff up top, yes, but I would try to keep it short as much as possible. We are this type of business. One paragraph. This role, you'll be working closely with this person, that person, and you'll be responsible for these main things, list 3 or 5 things, and then you move on to the must-have skills, right? Must have a degree, must have safety ticket, must have, 5 years experience. Maybe you're not looking for that entry-level person. Maybe you're looking for someone that's a little more experienced. So I would say 5. If you ever say you need someone with 10 years experience, your first employee with 10 plus years experience, you will not be able to afford them. They will want top dollar and probably more money than you're willing to offer that you created in your job ad. And that's fine. If you can attract the person with the most experience, that's fine. It wasn't meant to be. What? Luigi with the big head. I don't. That's my mom. I guess I made Jariah very happy because I mentioned him on the show. Yay! That's my job. Make everyone happy. Oh, I guess I can take that off. Did we finish? Create your job ad with only the most important things. I think so. Try to keep the first part short, but those must-have things and the asset things, those are important. Now, something, you don't have to do this, but you should, to get better results, include your pay range on your job ad. Right? We decided that your pay range is going to be $23 to $35 or something like that, whatever it is. You make sure your lowest end is above the local living wage and your top end is just a little bit higher than the standard, right? And then you got this play in there, but you put that in there, then there's two reasons why. One is that it holds you to that budget and it's keeping you fair and ethical. Because then you're not going to start paying someone $45 an hour just because you know them better or something like that. Hold it to this and you can budget, and your business is going to have better longevity because you've got this budget in place. So stick to it. The next time you post for this similar job, maybe change it a little bit, but make sure if you shift that pay range a little bit, that you give the pay raise to anyone who's at the low end up to the new low end, because you don't want to piss anyone off. So but as long as you got it, you're good. The second reason why you want to include your pay range is that you want to attract the right people. If you don't put your pay range, a bunch of people that are either unqualified will apply, and you'll have just extra resumes to go through, or people that are overqualified, that there's just no way you can pay for them, give them the wage they deserve. That's those 10 plus experience years people. If they apply, you won't be able to afford them, and you'll have wasted time, because now this experienced person has gone through your whole hiring process. You know, they applied, they filled out your personality test, they did a first interview over the phone with you, they sent you their references, and now they've gone through, now that you're sitting with them in the final interview, and you ask them how much you want to get paid, and they say $45 an hour, and you say, oh, I'm sorry, our pay grid ends at 35. Would you be willing to do that? Probably not. You just wasted their time. You wasted your time, more importantly. So it's better to be open and honest about that pay grid. Because if that highly experienced person, they're going to get pissed off. They're going to go say, this guy's a piece of crap because they didn't tell me what the wage was. They wasted all my time, right? You don't want to piss off people. Maybe down the road, that person could join your organization when you can afford it. But you don't want to piss them off right now. We talk about how we want good customer service and we want our customers to be happy, but we don't talk enough about how we want employees to be happy. And the hiring process is the first potential employees will learn about you and your organization and how you operate. Even if they don't get hired, they're either going to walk away from, that was a BS hiring process. I would advise nobody to go apply there. Or they're going to walk away and say, they had a really great hiring process and they let me know right away that I wasn't qualified or what the wage was or whatever. They'll be like, I think someone who's got less experience than me probably has a good chance of getting in over there. You want them to say nice things about you. So that's why you put your pay range on your job ads. I think it's like a dirty trick. Owners, managers, they don't want to say what they're willing to pay because they want to be able to lowball certain people during the hiring process, or they're too worried that they're going to attract nobody. If you honestly can't pay more than $15 to $20 an hour, you should still put it on there. And maybe you get a lot of entry-level people that will learn a lot and then leave your organization, and you just got to keep that. You just got to accept the reality that for $15 to $20 an hour in Edmonton, people aren't going to stay long term. But if they can come and stay for a year or two as you train them up and they move on to an organization that can pay them better, that's fine. If you've accepted the fact that you're going to have a turnover. And that makes it hard because you're constantly training. Now, nature of your business, maybe you can get away with that, maybe not. But yeah, always include your pay range because of those two reasons. You don't want to waste everybody's time, and You want to make sure that you stay in that budget, and it looks fair. You look like a fair and trustworthy organization, not some schemy little business where, you'll pay, all your racism will come out, and you'll pay people of color less money, or you'll pay disabled people less money, or you'll pay people that live further away less money because of all these reasons. You're racist, or you're worried someone's going to be late, or whatever, right? Don't be that schemer. Be open and honest about what you're going to pay and stick to it. If you lose an opportunity with some rock stars or some highly experienced people, that is fine. Accept it, because you're going to get someone who's early or mid-career that's going to work out just fine for you. So as long as you're sticking to your guns. Okay, so define the role. Create your pay grid. Create the job description. Create your job ad. Include your pay range. That's the top 5. And now number 6, we are working on decide where to post your job ad before posting to a large online job board like Indeed. If it's your first employee and you're posting your first job on Indeed, you are going to get 500, 1,000 applicants. Most of them aren't going to be qualified. It's going to be a nightmare for you. It's going to be a nightmare for you because you're not prepared for this. An HR person like me, I can handle it. I'm used to being in an organization where the resumes are just flying at me, right? That's my job. But you as a business owner, try to avoid this, right? So decide where you want to post your job ad. And I think I've spoken about this in previous videos and lives. Choose your immediate friends and family first, right? Sometimes it can be hard to work with family. We all know this. It may be hard to work with your friends too. We all know this. But there might be a certain friend or family that is suited for working with you. And because it's your friends and family, be really open and honest about it. I don't know if we could actually work together. We're really great friends and we get along when we're doing extracurricular activities and friend things, but I don't know if we would get along well at work. So you may need to put down some ground rules for you and your friend when you're hiring them. This is fine, right? Nobody can get mad, and everybody needs to talk and be open about their feelings while they're at work. It's a different environment, and it's something, if you're willing to navigate, a friend or family member can become a really valuable part of your business. But you got to make sure that there's a lot of these ground rules and you guys are all open and honest about what's going on. So that would be the first place I'm deciding to post my job, meaning I'm just phoning up a few people and saying, hey, you want to come work for me? You want to work together? Right? That's the simplest way. As a small business owner, you're the boss. There's no rules on how to hire an employee for you. If you were in a union environment or some sort of hyper-regulated industry, then there may be some rules on how you can hire. But as a small mom and pop business or something, right? Nah, find your friends and family, right? New Canadians have it well. They start a business and the whole family works there. They didn't go out and hire people. They just the whole family's working there, right? And that's fine. Next level would be, you might post it to your personal social media sites, not your business social media sites, just to your personal. So just to your personal Facebook. Hey, I'm looking for somebody to work with me. If you want to, or if you know somebody, please let them know, right? You want this word of mouth, and it's within your friend group. You know, a close friend should only recommend someone that they at least halfway trust and they feel might be a good fit because they're a good friend. So it's like, hey Ian, this is Johnny. I got this guy in Edmonton. He's a really hard worker. I think he would work well for you. Oh, thanks, Johnny. Right, that's the kind of referral you want at this level. Indentured family service. I mean, that might what it feels like sometimes with the family business, and sometimes the children get a little crazy or they don't want anything to do with it. Yeah, but that's more of a family dynamic than a than a business dynamic. I think it can work out if it's a little open and honest, and the family and friend employees are treated exactly the same as a regular employee. No favoritism, no thinking they're more important than, you know, the non-family employees, right? Like, you got to keep it fair as much as possible. Right. So just your personal contacts. Hey man, your personal social medias, to try to get that wider reach. And then I wouldn't go to the business socials yet. I would go to a little more feet on the ground, local area. Think about where your business is physically located. Now, this might not work in out in the country or something like that, but it does kind of still. It's the town, your nearest town. If you're in a big city like this, it's your neighborhood, right? You want to connect with those different organizations in your neighborhood and say, hey, I'm looking for an employee. Do you know anyone who lives in the area? Right? The idea is you want someone who's local, because one of the greatest fears of a small business owner is that employees will be late. They'll be late all the time because of traffic or vehicle or whatever. I mean, so to get over this fear, just hire in the neighborhood, right? If it's hired in the neighborhood, last resort, it's a 10-minute walk to work, right? Worst case scenario might be 2 minutes on a bus or a minute with your own vehicle, right? But 10-minute walk, worst case scenario. So you want to get to these local organizations and local bulletin boards. You're going out and you're putting that actual job ad up with the tack at the local place, wherever it is, right? But you want to do it in that very condensed local area. Now, with this, if you're looking for, or you want to get more people, say if you're a white business owner, but you would like to hire more people of color or disabled people or women, right? Think about where these people hang out, right? Where do they hang out? Let's go put the job poster up there so that they will see it. Cultural group, whatever. Go post it there. And you'll be able to get more diversity in your organization. And Diversity is so important. I can't stress this enough. You need a lot of different people from different ethnic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, even religious backgrounds, right? The more diversity you have, the more ideas you can access with your employees. So, yeah, that's important. So you can kind of augment this a little bit when you're doing this local hiring. Okay, what's the next step? Your business socials. You post it to your business socials, right? So your Facebook page, Ian's convenience store, hey, we're hiring. So these may be customers, people in your area. Maybe you have a wider reach. I think about the candy store on the west end of Edmonton called Sweet Convenience. My wife loves it. We go for their jelly beans. I like their different types of root beer. But we go now and again. And they are it's a 10-minute drive. It's a 15-minute drive, depending on the traffic from downtown to the west end. Right, you might be on the other side of the city and traveling around on a Henday to get to this store, right? They have a very big business community. They have a large reach. They're essentially in a business park with no residential around them, so they're not really depending on local kids bike riding over to buy candy. They can't because they're in a strange location that's a business location. So they have created an online community, and they have people from all over the place. I hear of people I know online talking about Sweet Convenience and stuff like that, right? And they'll travel across the city to go to this candy store. So this is the next place where you're posting your job ad to all your business socials. And these are people that probably know, like, and trust you already. So they might be willing to come work for you. But it's a wider reach. Could be a wider reach if you got business socials. Oh, all right. So you want to think about all these other places. So we start our checklist. Define the role. Create your pay grid. Create the job description. Create your job ad. Include your pay range in your job ad. Decide where to post your job before posting to large online job boards like Indeed. Next step, post to large job boards. This really should be your last resort. It is easy. It is very easy for you to do this, to skip all the other places and just post on Indeed. It is easy for you to start with. It's easy for you to do a post, one and done. But now you're going to start getting all kinds of just crazy resumes. And if your job ad's not done very well and you don't have the pay range, it's going to be even worse. I've received resumes for a financial job that I was advertising from 30-year truck drivers. Why is this truck driver who's been truck driving for 30 years applying for an office financial job? They have no experience at all with finances, and the resumes didn't indicate anything, right? It's just like, I've been truck driving for 30 years at this company, this company, this company. That's it. Now they're applying for a job. That's because people who are on employment insurance, EI, they are forced to apply for jobs, and they got to list down every job that they've applied for. And that's if they've been audited. They've got to put in this sheet showing that they're actually trying to apply for jobs. And they're just applying for everything. They're not qualified for your job in any way, shape, or form, but they've applied for it. These are the sorts of applicants you're going to get. Now, if this truck driver was really serious about changing careers from truck driving to the finance industry, there should have been something in there. Oh, I've been working with something like WFG or Primerica, and they learned the industry, and they've been doing that part-time for the last 5 years, and they've taken some of the courses, so they've got they're starting to get this experience in a new industry. Then I might say, oh, that's an entry-level finance person. I want them. Even though they spent the last 30 years truck driving, they have to give me something. They have to give me something in their resume. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. And that's where your resume sorting skills really come in. And you got to be brutal. You've got to be brutal. You don't have time to investigate 500 people. You have time to say yes or no first cut. Right, and in these job boards, they usually have must-have things, right? And it spits out a number and says, this person is 60% of what you need, right? So the system you could use right away and say, anything below 60, I don't even want to see. Don't even list it. So you're only looking at 60 and above, or 61 and above, and your first run through is like, do they have the must-haves? You might even be able to set this up. If they don't have those exact 3 or 4 things that you absolutely need, absolutely want, then they go in the no pile. And if you're using the right system, it could automatically do that for you. So there is some sorting help, but you got to make sure you're doing it right. Yeah, big job boards. They're easy up front, a little bit more work at the back end. Plus, you have to learn the system. You learn their system and how to use it, how to post it, how to create the job ad up there, right? Whereas you at home, you've just used Microsoft Word or even like Google Doc or something, right? And you've printed out the flyer, the job ad, you've posted it up all over the place, right? So it is more technical. When you know the tech stuff, it can be easy up front, but it could create just this resume review mess at the back end if you're not experienced enough to handle that. All right, so checklist going still. Define the role, create your pay grid, create your job description, create your job ad, include your pay range in the job ad, decide where to post your job ad, then finally post to large job boards like Indeed. And now number 8. Before you hire, create some simple HR policies, no more than a page or 2. You need some sort of structure. Don't get too detailed with these. Just give it enough structure so you feel confident that it'll be easy for an employee to follow these rules. Too often we're thinking, oh, we gotta write a 20-page employee handbook or something like that. No, just keep it simple, keep it short, right? It's not the appropriate time to create large, elaborate HR policies. Oh, itchy nose all of a sudden. It is not the time to do that. You want the basic structure. Basic, right? All employees start work at 8 o'clock and go home at 4 o'clock or whatever, right? Like, keep it simple. Remember that you must follow the basic labor laws in your area, the labor code, labor standards, whatever you want to call them. They're the government rules, the minimum. These are all minimums. If you do less than the minimum, you're doing something illegal. So you want to hit at least the minimums, and you want to be better than the minimums if you can, right? Especially when it comes to pay. So you could say at the start of your HR policy, this organization follows all the Alberta labor standards here, right? And then you just put the website link. And then you put in your additional stuff, right? The things that you're really concerned about. And maybe you want to make sure you put in your simple 3-strike rule or something like that. And just keep it simple. Just a simple framework. The things that you're really worried about. Because the more structure you give, the more angry the employees are going to be. But I know, being an HR expert, that the more rules you have, the less people read them. If you have a lot of rules, you've got to be constantly reminding people of all these different rules, the employee handbook stuff. You got to keep weekly meetings, daily meetings. You've got to talk about something, one of them all the time. You've always got to be training them, because people only look at the employee handbook when something goes wrong. And now they're scrambling. Oh my God, did we do this right? Why was it done wrong? Or whatever, right? So if you've got a lot of rules, people don't read them, and they only use them during when the poop hits the fan, So you want to keep your HR policy simple, a page or two, nothing elaborate, and you want to make sure that base structure is used. You still have to remind people of these rules, but make them lenient enough that you can accommodate employees and their lives. Remember, these are people. They're not robots, and they're not little kids to be supervised. These are people with brains of their own, the ability to learn and grow and give you feedback, valuable feedback. So you want that. You want that feedback. You don't want to scare people into not giving you feedback, because ideas to build and grow and expand your business, that's not always your responsibility, especially if you have a good team that's willing to give you feedback. Hired brains, I call them. You've hired these brains. Use these brains. So in the future, after you've hired some people, you sit down with your new employees and you say, is there anything in this employee handbook that we should be changing, adding, deleting? Do you like this particular policy? How would you reword it, right? You want to work with them to create all your future policies. Even if you think the policy isn't good enough or strict enough, you should just take what they offer, because that's the buy-in. They have created the policies, so they're either going to follow them, or when they break them, they're going to accept the fact that you have to give the proper punishment, fire them, doctor pay, suspend them, whatever, right? Demote them, give them a lateral move, or whatever you got to do, because they accepted this policy. And if they walk away angry and mad that you enforced a policy that they created, that's a red flag. You probably didn't want that person in your organization anyway. So you need that basic HR structure. Okay, so define the role, create your pay grid, create the job ad, or create the job description, create the job ad, include your pay range on the job ad, decide where to post it. This is the local stuff, the personal stuff. Then finally post it to the large job boards. And of course, before you hire, create some basic HR policy. Just a basic. You think about if you're going to build a house, this basic HR policy is just the fence around the yard. There's no house, there's no garage, there's no utilities. It's just a fence around the yard. That's it. It's just an empty yard with just grass, and you got a fence around it. That's what this HR policy should be. The last one, number 9. Invite a trusted friend to help you with interviews. Oh, I need a drink. So this person might not be in your organization. They're just someone you know, someone you trust, someone that you can really trust their opinion, and they've always given you straight talk. They don't beat around the bush. Just someone you can trust. You have them on the job interviews with you. It would be nice if you had 3 people in your job interview. You, a woman, and some sort of person of color, if not an indigenous person, right? You want that mix in there, right? In my case, I'm indigenous, so I cover that. So it'd be nice if I had a woman in there, but it would be nice if I had another person of color in the mix. Or I could do with a white guy. But I mean, try to hit the demographics so you can really get some good feedback on the people that you are interviewing. If that does not fail, this is a great time for you to hire an HR consultant to come in, spend a day with you while you do interviews. You get their professional feedback. You just pay them for one day, and you get their professional opinion in your process and things like that. I mean, that's a great time to do that. You can hire me, or you can even go up to all my links here and, get one of my ebooks that talks you through a lot of this stuff, and you can spend a small amount of money to get this basic stuff and do it yourself. And I find a lot of small business owners, they've got to be hands-on, they've got to learn the stuff themselves. So this is a great way to do it. Get one of my ebooks, and that will get you going. If you want the more advanced help, I'm here, man. Again, all my links. You could hire me or book an appointment or whatever, or in the ebook you purchase, there'll be additional contact information for me. So invite a trusted friend to help you with interviews. This could be professional too. And then you hire your first person. Then you've got the basics. You're ready to go. What do you do next? You do training. You train them hard. You are never going to replace yourself as the small business owner, and they are never going to care about your business as much as you do, ever, because they're just an employee. So you need to train them a little bit more, and then once you're done training them, you train them again. I can't stress this enough. I've been in situations where my boss has come into my office frustrated about a certain employee, and why aren't they working? Why aren't they performing? And my questions just piss off my boss, and I start saying, how much did you train them? Have you trained them on the new stuff? Are you continuing to go in there and train them for a little bit each day? Are you pulling them out of their work and giving them more formal training in the boardroom? Right? I start asking those questions, and it just pisses off that owner, that manager, my boss. Right? training. Never expect someone to be perfect and pick up the job with one training shift or something like that, or one day of training. It never works that way. You have to continue training them. Even employees that have been with you for a couple years, keep training them. Or ask them for their feedback, what training they need. You always got to ask, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? How can I help you? How can I train you? Especially the more experienced people, you want their feedback. You want to say, hey, George, you've been doing this for the last 5 years for me. What should I be training the new employees on? Or how would you train the new employees, right? Get their feedback, man. That's your hired brain. You're paying them, 23 to 50 bucks an hour. Use their brain. Get their brain. All right. I think I'm done for today. I'm out. Everybody have a great week. I should be back on next Monday. Sorry I was a little late today. I think I started about 4 minutes late instead of 3 minutes late. Anyway, I love y'all. Talk to you later.